What's up guys? In today's video I'm going to teach you and I'm going to show you how to create a trading bot, but in this case it's going to have an artificial intelligence. So yeah guys, we are at the point in which we have to create actually the bot. But in this video I'm not going to create it full, like the bot is not going to contain all the things that we'll be able to do. For now, we are just going to take data. That's the only thing that we are going to do. But yeah, let's start with that. How do we do this? So for example, here we could we could create a folder called bot, and inside here we can create several files. The first one being main.py. In this file, what we are going to do is that we are going to create the main file. And look, the bot must work in the following way. First of all, I always forget, you have here my GitHub. So you come here, AI trading bot, and here inside this folder you have all the code that I am going to implement right now. So yeah, now we can continue to create the bot. So first of all, we need to install the library for MetaTrader 5 in Python. So we need to do the next thing, pip install MetaTrader 5, and check this out. First M with a capital letter and the second T with a capital letter. So you press enter, and well, I already have this installed, so yeah, whatever. But now what you have to do here is to import it. So we are going to import MetaTrader 5 as MT5, and then here I have to import from the bot file that I'm going to create later, import the class bot that we are going to create later. So okay, now we are going to initialize the connection between MT5 and our bot, and then we are going to declare our bot. And look, for example, we are going to declare a variable called AI bot, and we are going to call the constructor of this class. We have not done this yet, but we are going to do it later. So here we put bot, and we want that the first thing we receive is the lot edge, then the time period in seconds, and finally the market in which we are going to work. So we are going to work in the boom 300 index, and now the next thing that we have to do is to put AI start and AI bot wait. So the user is the one who says, hey, stop. So okay, we have this file. This is a very simple file, it's just the main. But now we have to create this class. How do we do this? Okay, we come here, we create another file called bot with small letters, not capital letters, .py. So, okay, as I said, we have to create a class. The class is going to be called bot, and in this case the B with capital letters. So first of all, we have to define the constructor, def init, and it receives itself. And now it also receives the lot edge, the time period in seconds, remember, and the market finally. So okay, we can now initialize some attributes. For example, we could do that. Okay, since this bot is going to contain threads, we are going to create a list of threads, and this is going to be very useful for later closing them, because we need to close them in a specific way and we need them, so we are going to store them. The next thing that we need to do is to create a shared dictionary for all the threads, and this dictionary is going to be the data attribute. So it's going to contain the RSI and the standard deviation data, and at the beginning is just simply not going to have anything, none. Perfect. Then we need to store an event for stopping the threads, and this event we are going to call it peel to kill. So for this we need the threading library, and we are going to import it, import threading. So here we have the threading library, and we are going to create an event. Okay, here we create an event, perfect. And now the next thing is just storing all this information. So we are going to create another dictionary. This is going to be very useful for when we have to open operations, but yeah, for this video. But anyways, we are going to create that. Let's call it trading data. It's going to be a dictionary that contains the lot edge. Okay, contains also the time period. Let me put comma here, and also contains the market. So now we have to put the keys, obviously, so here we are going to put that the lotage, and indeed we can do the following. So we put this, then okay, and look, as if it was magic. So okay, we can continue. The next thing that we have to do is to create the function that is going to create the thread to obtain the data. So this function is going to be called thread data, and of course it receives itself and nothing else. Now we have to create a thread, and for that, threading, thread, not thread, error, thread, and now here we have to put several things. First of all, the target, let's put the ellipsis for now, and then the arcs, and let's put the ellipsis for now as well. Here we have to send a function, and here we have to send the arguments that that function receives. Since we have not made any function yet, let's leave it like this. Perfect. So now we need to store this in a variable, for example t, and let me put this, so we have this in t, and the following thing is to store this thread in the list that we spoke about before. So self threads dot append, and here we append the t. Perfect. And then when you call this function, you start the thread. So here we are going to call start, and that's it. And for example, we can put that, hey, print, and let's put here info, for example. I like to put these things, thread data initiated. Perfect. So we have finished with this thread, and indeed, like, for now we don't need any other thread because we still don't have the AI and all that. So for now we will leave it like this. So the next thing that we need to do is to create a function to kill all the threads. So we are going to put here kill threads, and it receives itself, and this is as simple as, first of all, setting the pill to kill the event, the threading event that is going to stop all the threads. So here we are going to put pill to kill set, perfect, and for each thread in the self.threads list, we are going to do the following. So t join, this is the special way that I told you that we have to close the threads. This is the nice way of closing the threads. Perfect. So the next thing now is to create a function to start all the threads. So here, for example, we could call this start, and it is as simple as, of course, it receives itself, as simple as calling, for example, this function. So we take this self thread data, and that's it. We don't need anything else. Finally, do you remember this function that I told you before called wait? So we have to do that. We have to do that function. So here we are going to put wait, and since it is a method, we have to put the self, and the wait function is very simple. We are going to put a message to the user which is going to say, hey, let me remove this because I was testing something. So let me close this, and here let's hide this. Okay. Let's say, okay, to stop, press enter. Perfect. And now what we are going to do is to call here input, and once the user press enter, we are going to kill the threads, and then shut down the connection with MT5. Shut down. Perfect. Okay, we almost have it, and I forgot to import this, so we are going to come up here, and we are going to import MetaTrader 5 as MT5. Perfect. So now we have to create this function that I told you before, the one that is going to actually take the data. So here we are going to do the following. Okay, we are going to create a module called data.py. Perfect. And here we are going to do the following. Okay, first of all, this is going to use sockets because we need to take the information from the MetaTrader 5 directly. So we need to use sockets. We are going to put here import socket, and we need to set the port. For example, the port is going to be 8688, whatever you want to put. The address is going to be the local host because the MT5 terminal is in our computer. So we put here localhost. Perfect. And now, since this is going to be a server, we have to create a function to basically create a server. Remember, Python is going to be the server and MT5 is going to be the client that connects to the server and sends the information like boom, 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 boom. That's it. So how do we create a server in Python? Ultra mega simple. Socket any. Okay. Now, first of all, we define the socket. So here, server socket is going to be equal to socket, perfect, socket AF. Init. Okay, this is for using AF init is for using the IP version 4, and here we need to set that we are going to use the TCP connection instead of the UDP or anything else, TCP. So for that you put here socket string. Perfect. So now we have to bind this to the address and the port, and for that we are going to use the server socket, put bind, and remember, this receives a tuple. So here we are going to put port and the address. Yes. So now we have to call the function listen, server socket listen, and we have to say how many messages do we want to have in the queue as maximum. Put the number you want, since this is not going to really receive a lot of messages in a small time. You can put whatever you want. Here I'm going to put 10, but look, that's what I told you, like this is not going to receive a lot of messages, like hundreds and hundreds of messages, so put any number that you want. I will recommend you that you use a small number, because if you do that, you wouldn't have a big queue. So yeah, 10 for example. Now, we need to start accepting connections. And how do we do this? Connection, and then the address. This is what we receive from the call of the function accept. So now after calling this accept function, we receive a connection and an address, which are very important. So now we can print another info and say, hey, let's put here info, and let's say, okay, the address, well, this address connected, for example, simple, like this. Yeah, that's it. And finally, we are going to use this connection, and we are going to use this server socket to close it later. So we are going to return this connection and server socket. Perfect. Now we have the function that creates the server, but we need to define the function that we are going to call here. How do we do this? Very simple. So we are going to call this function def, and we are going to call it thread data. Let me put this right, thread data. Perfect. It's going to receive the stop event to stop the thread event, and also the shared dictionary that I talked about before, data. So okay, here we are going to create a variable called message, but indeed we don't need to create it here. So yeah, first of all we need to create the server. How? Using this function that we created. So what did it return? It returned this. So we are going to put this is equal to socket any. That's it. And now we are going to be in an infinite loop until this event is set, and we have to stop, basically until the user says, hey, you have to stop. So here we are going to pull while not stop event is set. While it is not set, we are going to first of all receive a message through the socket, well, through the connection, sorry. And for this we are going to put recv, and the buffer size. The message may be very big, so, well, not super big, but to be just sure, you can put here 2048, and that will be fine. And here we are going to decode that message. Decode. Perfect. Now, if we receive, for example, end connection, we are going to stop. So we are going to put here in message. If this is in the message, we are going to break and go out from the loop. So like this. And now this is where the fun part comes. First of all, we are going to print the message that we receive. And one thing, I will show you how to send data from NT5, but for now we are going to take the code of that, and yeah, but in the next video I will explain you how to do that. So okay, this is the code that I'm going to take. I take all of this, yeah, like this, and then what I do is that I go to MetaTrader 5, and indeed we can already test the bot. So actually what we have to do here is to open the terminal. I remember I had one opened here. So we open the terminal and we try to execute it. So we go to the bot folder, cd bot, and now we put here python main.py. So okay, this gave us errors, and remember the error comes from this. So let me save this file here. I don't want this. So it comes from this ellipsis. We have to import data, which is the file here that we have all the functions and all that. And here we're going to put from data. I want you to call the thread data function. Perfect. And here the arguments, you need to send a tuple. And first of all, what do we send? The pl to kill. So we send the pl to kill, and then we say that we send this shared dictionary. So we are going to send this. So we take it and we put it here. And now let's see if it works. So okay, socket has not attribute called bind. This is because I have written that wrong. This is bind. And let's see if we have any other mistakes. Okay, str bytes. So here I think I have written this in the wrong order. So this is not port and address. This is address and port. Perfect. And okay, it seems that everything is working now. So now we have here this print message. What we have to do is to take the code that I told you before. I take this code and let's come to the IDE. I already have it here. Let's do it. So for example, what I would do is that let's remove this, and I would click on new expert advisor. Let's call it AI client, next, and here you paste all the data. So I have to copy that data again. So let me come here. Let me see if this was copied. Okay, we have it here copied. Oh my god. Okay, perfect. You click here on compile. There shouldn't be any error. And now you come here to the MT5 terminal. And what you do is that, look, we are lucky that. So now you come here to the MT5 terminal. You come here to the navigator. You click on AI client. And we are lucky that here there's a boom, because this means that is going to send data, if I'm not wrong. So it didn't send anything, but it was connected. This was right, but it didn't send anything. So what we are going to do is to stop a second. Let's stop also here the bot, and perfect. For now, to test this in a right way, we are going to put this like this. We are going to put it through, and don't worry, I will explain how to do this code in the next video. So here we are going to put true, so it is always sending information. And what we are going to do is that we take here this, we start this bot again, and here we start this other thing again. So let's see what it is. It's here, AI client, accept, and now, okay, we are sending RSI and STD deviation, and you have here all the data that we are receiving. So we need to parse this data. So let's stop this bot, this other bot here. And how do we parse this data? Is very simple. So what we are going to do is that we are going to create a variable called RSI STD from RSI and standard deviation. And here we are going to say message split, and we are going to split this from commas. You can see that there are a lot of commas that are separating the elements of the message. And indeed, since we have a last comma, we would have here an empty string. So we need to remove the last element. So here we are going to put RSI STD. Look, I'm going to show you this, what I meant. RSI STD, and we are going to print after that. So we put this, click on this, accept, and boom. So okay, here I forgot to do something. But anyways, we can see that. You can see that here, this has a last element, which is the empty string. So here we have to delete that element. And the error was that I'm deleting the entire variable and I just have to delete the last element. So now that we have a list with all the elements, what we have to do is to transform these elements and put them as if they were numbers, because now they are just strings, but we want numbers. How do we do this? We can create a list, a comprehensive list, and we can do that for each element in the RSI_std list. I want that you cast every element to float. Perfect. So now that we have the RSI, what we can actually do is to say, okay, now put the data, and well, take the data, the dictionary, and take the, let's take all this that now is as known. What we are going to do is that we are going to put here the list. That's it. So now, after the bot finishes, what we want is that you close the connection, let's put here connection close, and you also close the server socket. So here you put server socket close. Okay, now we can really test if this is working fine. So for that we are going to print the data RSI std, oh my god, std, and okay, let's remove some things from the terminal. So Python main, oh wow, not here, and here we need to stop this and start it again. So we click on accept, connection established, and then RSI and standard deviation, and now you can see that these are numbers and not strings. So we have finished the video. I just wanted to show you how to do this, because in the next video I will teach you how to create this, and in the next one I will teach you how to connect everything, how to create the artificial intelligence. So the artificial intelligence is the one who decides when to open an operation or not. So yeah guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, I hope you understood it, and if so, give it a like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next one.